and welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute and I'm so excited to be in front of the camera again, doing what I love. It's been a wild start to 2025 to say the least. I know a lot of people are feeling this different kind of energy around, you have these goals and then suddenly you don't want to do it. Not that you don't want to do it, but you're like not second guessing yourself. But a lot of people have been experiencing a lot of like pushback in their own mind against their goals. So even for me, I started the year like, yeah, I'm gonna it's like on the wall behind me on my vision board, yeah, I'm gonna have this icon energy and like set out all these things I wanted to do, and it has not looked like that at all. And I think because I had 4 months off work with the chronic hives and then I cured it in January, I feel like I just buried my head again deep in work. I had like 3 jobs, but 5 including my business and DJing. And I was just working like 6 days a week, sometimes 2 jobs in a day. And I just started to feel like at the end of it, I didn't even have time to be myself, which is effed up. So I made the tough decision to quit one of my jobs, and it was a bit of a mindset thing because I was working at a gym reception and I've done that for maybe a year and a half, and I loved it. Like, I find so much value in it because I've always done hospitality as well. Like, I actually love like stocking the drinks fridge and like making the protein shakes for people and making it the best protein shake that they can have at the perfect consistency, and everyone's smiling when they walk in. So I've really enjoyed it this whole time, and I would keep staying in this mind frame like, oh no, like I love just looking after the place, blah blah blah, which is great. But it just finally clicked, like I was getting really tired near the end. And it was this Sunday where the shift was very quiet. There was like no one in the gym. And I was stocking the drinks fridge and like tying it all with the labels. And I just realized, Cassie, you have, it sounds weird, but you have too much potential to be stocking the drink fridge for minimum wage at age 28. Which is me even just being vulnerable, even putting that on the internet. And other people might think that sounds weird, like it's not a bad job, blah blah blah. No, it's great, like I really had fun. But there's other things that I've set out to do with my year. So I handed in my notice and I'm just going to be working for myself again. Which is what I was meant to do. But sometimes we go off the path, and it was all needed and it all happened in divine timing. But there were a few other things that happened that just showed me it was definitely the right decision. And I also just listened to this podcast that hopefully can inspire you in your own journey. It was basically just saying, like, are you comfortable? Yes. Are you having a good time? Yes. But are you meant for more? Yes. So we keep ourselves in these things because, I don't know, maybe our parents' expectations, or like that's just what everyone else around you is doing. But if you have this goal, yes, life might be good and you can just keep going like that, but you might want extraordinary. So let that be your little bit of inspiration. And then it just so happened that the day after my last shift, I got a call from the hospital because I just had a surgery on a hernia, and that was meant to be like in October or something, and it just so happened that they had an opening within days. So I got that done on Monday. That was something that really held me back in my last bodybuilding prep, and it just felt like my core was so weak, and like you can see it in the photos and stuff, and it just was popping up 20 or 30 times a day. So I'm so happy to have that done, and what perfect timing to just have some time at home, time to recuperate and not have to answer to anyone, not have to be anywhere, not have any responsibility. This has been like the best week ever, and it is so silly that it takes something like that, same as when we had the cyclone in Brisbane, like, oh, I can't wait for the cyclone so I can just have this weekend at home and like not have to be anywhere. That is just not healthy. Yeah, so let that be your lesson. Like, we need to be scheduling in this downtime to take the pressure off. And it's hard online with hustle culture and people always telling you you're not doing enough, you're not achieving fast enough, you're always comparing yourself. But we need time to just exist. So today I'm bringing you a girly chat. I asked over on my Instagram for you to submit your questions. So we're going to be covering a few things, including mindset, confidence, beauty, nutrition, fitness, and things like that. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel or subscribe to the podcast if you're not already. And you can connect with me on Instagram or TikTok at Cassie Amber Wellness for more daily content. So let's get into it. The first question is how to do things against societal norms and still be okay with it. So how to go against the grain. This is something I'm super passionate about because everything I have done since I quit my corporate hotel job after doing my degree is the opposite of what I guess society expects of us. And I guess it just comes down to asking yourself, what's more important? Pleasing, I was about to say some randos, but it might be like pleasing your friends and family's expectations or actually creating the life that you want to live. Because no matter what you do, people will judge you. If you stay the same, people will judge you. Actually, people like you if you stay in this little bubble, if you just do the little thing, because it doesn't bring up their own insecurities of the dreams that they didn't chase. So I would much rather just own my shit and go. I actually like being different because, like, I don't know, it shows that you've gotten to know yourself. It shows that you've really explored your passions and things that light you up instead of just liking what everyone else likes. I really notice this even when I go to music festivals. Is really interesting people watching because me and both my flatmates, we're all DJs and we all have a very unique style of music. My music is very intense and weird. And if you want to make it as a DJ, you usually play commercial or you go into the clubs. We hate that music. And it's so crazy to see at festivals. As soon as they play like some girly, well-known song, everyone's like, oh my God, let me get on your shoulders, like going wild for it. And yes, some of those people do genuinely love it, so like no hate to them. But another example is like how all of New Zealand are just obsessed with D&B. And then back when I was younger, it was dubstep. And it's like, have those people actually explored what they like? Because especially when you're younger, you just like what your friends like or because it's cool to like it, but have you even explored? And even if that makes you a weirdo. So even though this question isn't about music, it's about pursuing different life passions, that's just an example. So like, are you just doing what's expected of us as human beings, or is there actually another way that you could be living that's just going to be way more fun and way more in alignment and actually light you up each day? Next question, how did you figure out how many calories and proteins are in what you eat all the time? So I've always been an intuitive eater my whole life. When I was younger, around age 21 or 22 is like when I started my influencer journey, I guess you could say. And I was literally in like Women's Day magazine for my vegan cooking and stuff like that. And I've just always eaten intuitively. I live off a lot of stir fries and stuff. I studied nutrition because I cured my digestion and bloating with food. So it was just a natural route because I can just feel the effects of everything. So I guess that just gives me the data that I need to know. But then when I started bodybuilding, you need to up the protein and cut down on the things that take up more space that aren't as worth it in your day. So like when you actually have to cut your calories, or even if it's bulking and there's too many foods that are just low quality, just taking up space. So I just use my Fitness Pal, and I'm still not great at tracking. One tip that my coach told me is if you type the word like pine nuts and then write nutab, I don't know what the hell that means, NUTTAB, so like pine nuts, nutab, that's like the Australian standard, because with my Fitness Pal people from all over the world can add like what the calories are and stuff, so the data isn't always correct. So that's probably one main tip that helped me. And instead of being super specific on the details, like one thing I just don't understand is if there's like, I don't know, however many grams of banana or something, because if you just type one banana, it could be a small one, it could be a big one, that could be almost like double the calories or like a third more of the calories. So if it's like this many grams of banana, I still don't get what people do if you like cook 4 days worth and then there's some like left over. Like if you're not in a serious cut, I guess like I would just add it in and then like adjust it each time, but then it was so time consuming. But then if you're like a strict bodybuilder, do you just like throw it out? I guess some people might freeze it, but I always get confused about that. Like what do you do with these like random scraps that don't meet the exact number of what's meant to be in there kind of thing? But yeah, if you don't want to track super specifically, just loosely tracking and just tracking protein makes a huge difference, because if you're eating enough protein, then you're less hungry and like less likely to overeat on this other low quality food, and it keeps you feeling full during the day, helps with your energy levels, focus, everything like that. And to calculate your protein, so it's 1.8 to 2.2 grams times your body weight. So there's still some give and take with this, like if someone's very overweight or very underweight, it will need to be adjusted, but that's like the given average if you're wanting to be healthy and get in shape and provide your muscles with the fuel they need. So yeah, MyFitnessPal can help a lot. And then if you don't want to track all the time, even if you just find out like the macros of 3 to 5 different breakfast, lunches, dinners, and a couple of snacks, you can just rotate between those meals. So even now, if I'm like haven't been shopping for my actual meal plan or something, I'm like, oh, what do I have for breakfast? Oh yeah, I can have this thing that I ate in bodybuilding prep, and I know it's got like 20 grams protein and it takes 2 minutes to make or something. So just having those basics that you can always go back to. Who is my biggest influence in life? My biggest business idol is Lauren Simpson. I've been obsessed with her ever since I probably got Instagram. I just love the way she makes her content. I don't know what quite it is about it, but I just find her very inspirational as a person, and like I just love everything about it. I don't even know like how to describe it. And the other person is Georgie Stevenson. She is a big business idol to me. I don't relate to her as much now because she's had kids and that's not on my cards, so like her content doesn't really relate a lot if it's about motherhood and things like that. But she taught me a lot about just like the power of your mind and manifesting and getting what you want in life, but kind of like from the spiritual side of it. So those two people. How to stop food guilt and self-hatred after a binge. The biggest thing I always say is ask yourself why. And I must say, like, I have such a good relationship with food, and I'm a lot more relaxed than bodybuilders in general, and people would probably be quite surprised. Like, I don't know, I'll still eat like a whole bag of peanut M&Ms, like my guilty pleasure and things like that, but I never just like sit there and say, oh, why did you do that? You just stuffed up the whole thing, now you're gonna need to make up for it. And I don't beat myself up over anything. The one thing I ask is, oh, why did I do that? Oh, maybe my period's coming and I'm having way more chocolate cravings than usual. Maybe I haven't eaten enough during the day and I'm having like a sugar low. Maybe I'm just wanting the pleasure of it, but it's not actually necessary. So I just gave in to it, or I didn't like portion it out. So I just like let myself down mentally with my like personal discipline. So then what can I do about that? I never get angry about anything. I just think, well, you can get right back on track for the next meal, and yeah, what can you do about it? Just use it as something you can learn from. Will I lose muscle or strength after I go plant-based? I was getting ready in the mirror today. No, you won't. So I haven't eaten meat apart from salmon probably once or twice a month, I've still gone like 3 to 4 months without it very often as well. So apart from occasional salmon, I haven't eaten meat for 7.5 years now, which is crazy. And I barely have eggs. I only used to have them when I had my own chickens, and now if I get them literally a few times a year, like I might buy it 3 times a year or something, then I just try to get as ethically sourced as I can, maybe go into like the local health store or someone who has local like their own chickens kind of thing. So yeah, I eat 90 to 95% vegan for my whole 20s, and it's only about the macros, eating enough, actually training properly. Like you should, like, a lot of people, they don't push themselves hard enough at the gym, or some people gym too often so that they're actually not even putting on the size because their body is so stressed out and their muscles don't have enough time to recover. So it's all this big calculation of how everything works and finding your sweet spot. So I only gym, it's meant to be 4 days a week, but sometimes it's 3. And when I was having that crazy busy period, I was only gymming honestly once or twice a week for like 2 months. And then 3 weeks before I quit my job at the gym, I didn't go at all. Like, I was coming home and I'd be like, today is the day, and falling asleep in my makeup, and then just waking up having to go straight away. And all the people on the internet who were like, oh yeah, well, wake up early and make it happen. But sometimes when you go through certain stages in life, you've just got a limited capacity of energy, and it's like sometimes you have to just choose some things. It's not good that I did that, but my coach will always say sometimes the best thing you just need is a good sleep, and I was barely even sleeping. So I take a bit of a different approach to like all the fitness influencers, and I want to do another video on that about people who say like never take more than 1 day off in a row. I just had 3 weeks off, and because of this hernia surgery I can't lift over 2 to 3 kgs for 6 to 8 weeks, which is the size of my 2-liter water bottle. Yeah. So that's obviously a different reason. That's just not that's not just for normal life, like not going because you don't feel like it or something. But yeah, things can be a lot different to what people imagine, and you can be a lot more balanced, a lot more feminine, and then actually see results because you're giving your body time to rest and rejuvenate and not being so stressed out and inflamed. And then you can actually try harder when you are at your gym sessions. And as long as you're fueling yourself right with the right plant-based foods, you can actually get into the best shape of your life. My friend actually says you can kind of see it, especially with bodybuilding, like, or even, I don't know, like a few of the people online who are very, very fit and who are vegan, you can sometimes see it just in them. Like, they look not cleaner. Like, I don't want this to come across in the wrong way. It's just like their muscle looks different and their body fat looks different. Like eating plants versus animal products. Like, you can just kind of tell. It's just like a different look. And it's also easier to keep weight off because the food is lower in calories. So it's a win-win all around. How can I eat intuitively without accidentally undereating or overeating? Listen to the science. There's a bit of a give and take with this topic because I've seen some good points of view against intuitive eating, because especially people with like ADHD, which I have, and if you're on meds, you won't even feel, a lot of people won't feel hungry, so they're not listening to their body, but then you might overeat. So it's not always the same. Like, not everyone can just listen to their body the same, but intuitive paired with knowledge kind of thing, like blending the two together. So say if you have ADHD and you take medication, knowing, if I eat breakfast at this time and then the meds kind of wear off around here, so if I eat lunch here. And one of the dietitians posted on her story, like, how do people feel about setting alarms for meal times? I get hungry anyway, so like, even if I'm not really hungry during the day, I'll just like have a small meal for breakfast and like maybe a snack, a little lunch, and then at dinner time I'll have like a bigger dinner and then like a big protein filled dessert. So I don't really experience that problem, and you can still feel it, like if you're starting to feel really lethargic and your body's getting like thirsty because you're so focused and things like that. But for the general population, how to not undereat or overeat, your body tells you everything. And there was this guy literally roasting me online when I was talking about the predominantly plant-based approach, and he was like, yeah, intuition like doesn't exist and stuff like that. It's like, who are these people? But it's the signs your body gives you. So if I eat some wheat pasta, like the cheap normal $1 pasta, my stomach would blow up to be pregnant. Like, I actually can't even digest it. Like, if I don't know, eat something else, if you're eating too much chocolate before your time of month and then you get like hormonal or sugar breakouts around your face, I still class all of that stuff as intuition, even though it's like data. But it's like if you eat something and then you get really bloated, it's like, oh, my body doesn't tolerate that well. How do you not think that there's signs that you can listen to? But in terms of amounts of food, when I do my check-ins with my coach, we actually don't go off weight at all. I still weigh myself weekly, but we go off measurements. So I do a measurement of my waist, my glutes, and my quad, and then we go off progress pictures. So you don't need to do this weekly if you're not a bodybuilder and not even in a cut season or anything like that. But even once a month kind of thing, taking some progress pictures to see how you're looking and monitoring your energy levels during the day. If you're feeling like, I don't know, like you're struggling to focus, you're getting like a sugar kind of low, it's probably time to have a snack or have a break and rehydrate. Or if you're ending the night like feeling so gluggy and full and gross, like you can't get up off the couch, it was probably too much food or the wrong kind of food. I even noticed, like, your body tells you everything. I can't believe this guy. But I even noticed I just don't really tolerate oats well. I know everyone eats overnight oats and loves them, and I think it's good for me sometimes at night if I can't sleep, because carbs can help you sleep. That's another alternative or controversial opinion that I have. Everyone says like, oh, no eating after this time, or no carbs at night, or no carbs at all. I will eat carbs at 1 o'clock in the morning if I can't sleep and I look the way I do and gym less than people think. But when I start the day with carbs, I kind of have monitored this over the last, or not with carbs, with oats, in the last few months. I'm tired straight away and like hungry within an hour or two, and that's including like adding chia seeds and things like that. And yeah, it just makes me so tired. So I've started, like I don't really eat oats unless it's like a rare occasion. But even from that data, from just monitoring how I feel, now I know, oh, if you eat like a super carby breakfast in general, that's like a lot to digest, you'll probably feel tired straight away. So just having like less carbs, more protein, more fats for breakfast, and having carbs later in the day. Your body is always giving you the signs, so you just have to listen. I want to get lean and toned, but I don't want to be obsessed with the gym. How do I find balance? You don't need to go 7 days a week. You don't need to go twice a day. I just saw this girl on TikTok and she's like, oh, I'm just pulling back up to the gym because I can never skip a cardio session. And then in her next video, she's like, oh my God, I lost my period. Rest is okay. It depends on who you're talking to, I guess, because like if you only rest, obviously you're not going to get results. You still need to work, but you don't need to be extreme. You just need to be effective. I lift a third less or even half less of the weight that I used to now, and my muscles, I was about to say exploded, they just blew up. I got in even better shape from lowering the weight, focusing on the right activation, lifting slower, focusing on tempo and the full range of motion. So even if you're doing like hip thrusts, some people are just like pulsing, but if you actually go right down, this is like on the thrust machine or even with the barbell, if you go right down to your butt almost touches the ground and then push up from that position, I lift barely any weight. Like you can feel it compared to just stacking it up and like trying to do these reps, like heaving with your whole body but not activating the right muscles. So you don't need to be obsessed with the gym to get in shape, and even just finding activities that help you remain active. So I just took the dogs for a beautiful like rainforest walk for a change of scenery, and quite often if I meet up with a friend, I don't drink much. So I go to raves obviously, but I don't want to like go out for drinks. So I usually meet my friends and we have a coffee and we do a walk around the lake and I bring the dog and things like that. And maybe you want to go rock climbing with your friends. Like you don't need to be crazy obsessed to see results. It just needs to integrate into your lifestyle so that things become like second nature. What are my go-to meals? So my breakfast go-to meal is a protein powder mousse. There's two different ones that I like. So one of them is the Tropica banana mousse, and if you just add a little bit of water, I also add creatine and highly recommend it. And I do some defrosted mango, and you can add some crushed wheat bix or soy crisps or sliced almonds and even a dollop of caramel topping, like caramel sauce. That is delicious. Or the other alternative is the chocolate version. So I got sent this protein, it's this one here. I got sent this protein from JS Health, Jessica Seapool, and that has a fantastic consistency. I did get a discount code, so I'll put that in the description below as well. But oh my god, so like adding a tiny bit of water, and then I stewed some apples with a touch of coconut oil in the pot and then sprinkled with some cinnamon, so it's like the stewed apple with the protein powder. That was incredible, and it's so easy to make. And there were no apples I bought organic apples even though I don't eat organic, but I just noticed the flavor. It was like, I don't know, I bought an apple from the supermarket and I don't usually buy them, and it just like the last few times it just tasted like shit, like no flavor. It's just fake food. So I don't buy organic in general, but for something like that I actually bought organic apples and then just added like 2 smaller apples, and they're so much sweeter and it just feels like less modified. So yeah, those are my go-to breakfasts. For lunch, I don't know, I love having like a roasted vegan chicken or duck pita bread with rocket and cranberry and a little bit of cheese in there. That one's one of my favorite things. And then like the carbs give you some energy as well, because I'm usually an afternoon workout person, like 2 or 3 p.m. is when I feel best to work out. And for dinner, I usually honestly just live off stir fries, or I've been eating nachos quite a bit recently with veggie mince and kidney beans or chili beans. So yeah, I basically just cycle between those kinds of things, and I love like protein shakes that are really chocolatey, like a cookies and cream one or a chocolate peppermint one. Like I love just having drinks during the day. I feel like my environment is holding me back, so how can I change it so I can grow? The people you're around and your environment have a huge impact on your success, your daily habits, who you become, because you mold into them. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be an excuse. So I've lived in flats where everyone orders takeout. I've like lived in a boy flat where one of the guys I think he cooked once a week for dinner. Every other night it's like KFC, like this chicken place, there's takeaway bags everywhere. No one preps their lunch or anything like that. People drink a lot. I've lived in flats where I'm like the only one that gyms and eats healthy, really. And I don't think like, oh, well, they're getting KFC, so maybe I'll just have it. So there's 2 things to do about it. Number 1, stop using it as an excuse for the now. And number 2 is work towards changing your environment. So do you need to move out? Even if you're living with your parents, can you work towards that? What are the steps? And if it's with a partner, even discussing if they want to get on the same level or meeting you in the middle somewhere. But like, actually my last 2 relationships, the guy didn't, or my partner didn't gym. So in the first one, he was still really fit and toned because he helped set up for festivals and he was a dubstep DJ, so he was actually just fit from like head banging all the time. So he was still fit, but like he didn't gym. And then the second partner that I had, he gymmed while I was in prep with me for like, it was maybe a 3-month period, and then he stopped going after that. And I still kept going, and he still stayed fit from other activities. He was like in the best shape of his life when he didn't even go to the gym. Oh my god, my laugh cracks me up. But yeah, he stopped going to the gym. I still did. You don't need to do what everyone else around you is doing. If you're going out with your friends and everyone's ordering a drink, maybe you just want to get a Pepsi Max or like a mocktail, because you don't need to drink just because everyone else is getting one. Maybe you just want like a soda water with lime or something. So you're actually still in control. How do I feel confident in my body when I don't love how I look right now? I am one of the best people that can give you this advice, and I'm so happy I went through this so that I can, because I don't know what it's like to be a mom or anything and have your body change in that kind of way where you're trying to find yourself after having a baby. Like, I wouldn't physically be able to relate, so my advice might not like even land because I wouldn't know what it's like. But I had chronic hives for 4 months. I nearly lost my life over Christmas and New Year's. So in the end, we put it down to a eucalyptus allergy, which I think was brought on from bodybuilding prep. I didn't come from a good starting point, and from like I wasn't eating much for 5 months after my breakup. I became very underweight and then basically went into prep, so like I didn't have a good starting point of nutrients built up. And then 2 weeks before the show, I had some antibiotics for a UTI. I only had 3 tablets, not even the full course, and 80% of our immunity is made in our gut. So I personally believe that's what triggered the allergy, because I don't think I've had it before, or I hadn't been around eucalyptus to that extent before. But we found out it was like all through the house, because even my flatmate, she would make up these cleaning concoctions, so what was in the like spray bottles doesn't actually match the label and everything like that. So once we looked into it, it was like in the laundry liquid, so we had to get to the bottom of it ourselves. And then if it's in the laundry liquid, it's in my dog's bed, it's in my bed, it's on everything I touch. I scrubbed my windowsills for mold and everything, and yeah, it was a crazy time. But I was waking up covered from my scalp to the bottom of my feet, and it was a crazy time because I just had an unbreakable mindset. Even though I was waking up looking like I had a disease every day, didn't know the answer. I'm looking online and some people are like, oh, I've been having this for 4 years and the doctor doesn't know what it is. And I'm like, I am not letting that be my reality. I'm going to keep hunting until there's no ounce of effort left in me to not let this be my reality, because everything had to be put to a halt. I couldn't work. My clothes and my bed were physically burning me. That felt like someone holding a lighter flame on my skin. I couldn't exercise because I couldn't sweat. I couldn't wear a crop top. Like, I didn't even want to go to bed because my bed would burn me too. But yeah, it was just like crazy. And I woke up every day, and the funny thing is I just finished the bodybuilding show. So everyone's worried about like, oh, I'm scared of some like cookies or Oreos because I'll put on a bit of body fat. But I finished the bodybuilding show and looked like that straight away, and it got worse and worse, like progressing up to December and to New Year's. My whole face, because there's a linked condition called angioedema, my whole face I'd show up and it looked like I had botched lip filler. On New Year's Eve I had to put on like a fake what do you call it, like a bandana thing around my face to go get this medication, because I was like, I can't leave the house like this. And yeah, I was just covered in dots, and there were a few times I cried, obviously, like, oh wow, this is actually like really getting me down because we're not seeing progress. But for the most part, I was just making lists of how to get better, and I woke up every day like, wow, you're so beautiful, and like, oh, you're putting on body fat, so that means your body's getting more nutrients, and you've got like more energy resource and things like that. And I was just so positive when I looked at myself every day somehow, but it just goes to show the inner work that I've done. So the version of me now, I created while I was stuck in bed looking like that every day, my whole body covered in welts. So it actually has nothing got to do with what you look like. Some of the most attractive people in the world, like people who you think are so beautiful, it doesn't matter what you look like, because they will wake up and think, oh my god, I really don't like this about my face, or I hate this part of my body. And it's like, I wake up every day and I'm just happy no matter what. Like, you might think, oh, it's easy for you to say when you look like that, but everything is a season. That's how I look at it. So when I'm super lean and shredded, and like when I was in my peak physical conditioning, I'm like, wow, that was pure dedication. That was showing up for myself every day. That was having discipline, and that was having everything planned out and like really giving it my all. And when I look at myself now and I'm more softer, I haven't even been able to gym properly for a while, and yeah, like not as ripped, I'm like, oh wow, you look so feminine and curvy and beautiful and healthy and like softer. I even brought like a dress. I don't wear dresses. Like a maxi a maxi dress. I'm like, oh, but it's very womanly. But view it as a season, and if you don't like what you look like, what can you do about it? Start making a glow up list. Am I continuing my meals and working on my recipe app? I'm currently going through, to be completely transparent, a full, I guess just while I've got this time off from the surgery, a full self-discovery and reinvention period. I'm just taking the pressure off and figuring out what really lights me up, because there's a few paths that I want to go down and I've been stuck on it for months and months, and action will cure the indecisiveness. But yeah, I'm just kind of having, because I feel like haven't even been home. I was just working non-stop. There was one morning where my flatmate came home from a rave and walked across the backyard at like 3:45 in the morning after a gig, and I was out there with my phone torch hanging my washing out before going to work at 3:45. And I have problems with my sleep, so some nights I don't get to sleep till like 1 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I feel like I just haven't even been home. So this couple of weeks is just about coming home to me, taking the pressure off, actually being in the moment, absorbing the pleasures in life around me, and spending time with my dog, because I felt like I didn't even see her for a few months. But after that, I just need to make a few decisions around what platform to use or exactly what path to go down, whether I include fitness and then study for that, or like go down the more mindset route. But nutrition will always be a part of it. But yeah, I'm just trying to decide what actual path and yeah, like what exactly it's going to look like. But I've had a lot of requests even when I've been out at raves and stuff, and people running up to me like, oh, I just got back from holidays overseas and I just feel like I don't want to eat meat much anymore. So I feel like I'm the perfect person to help people with that, like with the focus on improving your physique and holding on to your muscle mass and everything at the same time, because there's a lot of misinformation out there and mistakes that people do. So I feel like I'm the go-to woman, but I also am obsessed with the personal development journey and creating your own, or creating your dream life. So yes, so at the moment I'm just having like a big, not like a spring reset, but a winter reset. So I'm going through like every item of clothing I own. I'm like cleaning out every drawer, every shelf, cleaning out my pantry, like having a full fresh start and rebrand, and really feeling into where the next chapter is going to lead me. So I'm super excited for that. And the last question is my calf training routine. So I hate when people say, like, oh, you look like that because of genetics. There's two aspects, because if you say, oh, it's just genetics, it takes away from like the hard work that I have done. Like when I show people some before and afters, like especially with my glutes, they're like, oh, you were born with a great butt. And I'm like, no, I built this in the last 2 years and like doubled the size of it. But in terms of calves, like I have grown my whole lower body a lot in the last 2 years since I got a new coach and decided, like, to bring up those areas. But calves is something that is largely genetic. So yes, I have been growing them and like eating right and being consistent and everything, but it's also like the shape of your body. So for someone who is really like elongated and lean, their muscle looks like, I'm more compact, so everything is like goes outwards, but for someone who's like taller, they've got like more longer muscles, if that makes sense. And I started athletics when I was 4. I was a 100-meter sprinter, and I was enrolled in ballet when I was 5. So you're like constantly on your toes and like doing that. So I feel like that played a huge part. And I did 4 different types of dance, rugby and netball, and then I was a 100-meter sprinter, and I competed New Zealand wide until I was like 14. But often sprinters and stuff, they are like also very lean, so I was still the shortest out of anyone there, and their hips were like up to my chest. So it's not like the be all end all that I did that, because people's bodies still look different. But my dad was 3rd in New Zealand for karate, and my mum also broke records in athletics. So I came from like, yeah, a large part of it is genetic, because that's just like, yeah, like what my parents look like, if that makes sense. And yet from the sport I did from a very young age. So for my calf routine, I just hit them once a week. So I do either in my training split, I think it goes for like 6 weeks. It'll be like either the seated calf raise, or sometimes I do them on the leg press machine. You can do them on the Smith machine or the standing one, but I don't really like it on the Smith machine. And for the standing one, sometimes I'm actually too short to fit in there to get the full range of motion. And I know you can use blocks and stuff, but I quite just like doing it on the angled leg press. So yeah, I just alternate between seated calf raise or the leg press calf raise. So I hope that answered your question. But genetics play a huge part, but you can still optimize what you're given as well. So that's everything for today. My microphone is about to go flat, and I'm super happy to be back in front of the camera. I felt like a bit rusty. Like when I first sat down, I was like, oh, like almost like I forgot what to do. But this is like really what lights me up, and I love creating content and connecting with you. And yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. So stay tuned, don't forget to subscribe, and let me know what your favorite part of the video was and what you'd like to see next. Thank you.